Howdy-o. Hi, I'm Chris. Welcome to King Bespoke Creations. Now, today, we're cracking on with this Archtop build in the Use What You've Got challenge. We're talking about bridges and breakneck angles today. The bridges, you all know what a bridge is. The parts that the strings go over on the body of the guitar. So I've made this this bridge with my little logo crown in there. So that needs sorting out onto this point, which then means we need to sort out the break angle. Now the break angle is the part that, well, it's the angle that the neck goes onto. So does it sit perfectly flat or does it have a bit of a tilt that way? Well, because it's got a tall bridge, it's going to have a bit of a tilt that way. So how do we figure that out? Well, I'm sure clever people could do a load of maths. I'm not a clever person, so I'm not going to do a load of maths. We're going to use a little trick using a very long plane and stacking up heights to plane the correct angle, and then we can just route a neck pocket using that flat surface that we've got. Okay, now I left you last time with the back of the body as a rough carve, which we have smoothed off using a card scraper. Totally fell in love with using scrapers again. What a beautiful tool that is. So that's almost finished. I haven't done this area up here. I haven't finished that off because most of that section is probably going to go and disappear when it all gets attached on the back. So today we're sorting out the front bit. Now I've done, in preparation, this bottom half. So we're going to sort the neck break angle on this section. Okay, so we need the bridge on here. Now the reason I've put this carve in is because the bridge needs to sit on there. I don't know whether you can see, it's got these gaps on the sides. So we actually need the bottom of this bridge to have the same arc as the guitar. So that's why I've done that section. Once we know that that's going to fit, we can measure the height of that, stick a block on it basically, and then plane down at an angle to sort the break angle on there. Well, sounds like a lot of work, doesn't it? Going to be fun though. How do we sort out that angle and transfer it onto the bottom of there? I hear you cry. Well, it's very simple. I've marked off a line all the way along here where the bridge needs to sit. So I've got the correct neck length coming in. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to Pritt stick, sticky glue, some sandpaper to this. And then when that's on, just rub that backwards and forwards until I know that it's covered the entire width. What I'm going to do, so this is 120 grit paper. So I'm going to go 120 and then I'm going to go 240. Now the reason I'm doing that isn't because I want a super shiny finish on the bottom. It's because this is actually quite thick. So if I stick this down, and if I use the masking tape and super glue trick, for example, it's effectively getting that higher and higher, so the arc is going to be different. If you think about a circle, as it expands, the radius gets flatter and flatter, doesn't it? So we're going to stick that down to begin with. Once we've covered that one, we can peel that off, put some thinner paper down as well, and we'll get as close as we can to what we've got. There we go. Right, so that's using the center of that bridge line there, and I have my center line still running down this section as well, so I know that that should sit there. That hasn't stuck down, has it? Arg. Bottoms. Let's just be a little bit ruthless. I'm going to put a tiny daub on each corner. Just a little bit. And where's my spray gun? There it is. So now that's there, I know the bridge wants to sit in that plane, so all I'm going to do is rub that back and forwards like that. Now straight away there, So straight away you can see it's only wearing off these inside corners because these edges aren't touching yet. So once we know that that's spread all the way out to the edges, then we can swap papers. Close, close, still not quite touching on these front edges here because there's a bit more of a curve on that point, so there's still a little way to go at the back. Right, okay, so that's got us pretty close all the way across. So now we're going to get rid of this one. Now, little side note, this wood that I've used here is the same as what we've got on the neck and what we're going to use in between the body blanks as well. Excuse me, that little cough actually proves the point. It's worth mentioning that this type of wood that we're making the bridge out of, it's the same as the neck and what's going to go in between the body blanks as well, is a wood species called Iroko. Now there's lots of different types of woods within the Iroko family. Very commonly referred to as African teak. It's used for building boats quite often because it's rot proof, it doesn't get eaten away by bugs. It's a brilliant wood, but lots and lots of people, including me, are allergic to the dust that comes through. It's got something inside it that when it gets into the cracks in your skin, it'll cause a rash, and if you breathe it in, you'll be coughing for a very long time. It's another reason why I like hand tools, ladies and gentlemen. If we went at this stuff with a great big belt sander and plumes of dust all over the place, you will be itching and scratching. It gets through your clothes, inside the little cracks in your skin and your elbows and your armpits, all over the place, and it's really, really frustrating. So be very careful if you're ever using Iroko wood. Make sure you keep your dust to a minimum, and once you've finished using it, go and have a shower. Don't sit there for another couple of hours with this dust clinging to you, because you will regret it later on. There we go, not totally perfect yet, but it has lowered the bridge down because we've taken quite a big chunk off these corners. So it has lowered it down a couple of mil, which will make a difference for when we work to the break angle, which is the next bit. Work to treat. Now, speaking of giving yourself a treat, come with me. Now, this year's been a tough one. You deserve something amazing, like this coffee machine. Just look at it, it's gorgeous, and it makes amazingly good coffee. You deserve a treat like this. Go and get yourself one. I'll put a link in the description below. Go on, you deserve it, you do. Right, okay, so this is kind of what we've got. So we've got a bridge section here that is 36 millimeters tall, and then the fretboard comes in. I want the fretboard to stand clear of the body, and in the middle of the fretboard, right in the center, is 9 mil. Some might say that's a little thick, but there we go. On the edge it's probably about 6. So that string height needs to come from there and match up to the top of that section on there. That's what the break angle is going to do. You can see if we cut that flat, it would come in and the strings would hit right in the center. So if I just create a block of wood that was 36 mil high and then start planing down, what I would be doing is planing the body as if it was the height of the top of the fret. Okay, so what I need to do is take 9 or 10 mil off this, which will then bring me down so the body would run in line like that. That's where the body's going to sit. Let's do that in a different colour. So the body will get planed off at that angle like that. Okay, so this section here is going to get planed off instead of it being square as it currently is. And that will give us our perfect break angle, and then we can use our big router machine to route the neck pocket that goes in like that. So this block of wood will be representing my bridge. So as that sits on there, the leading edge of this is the bridge line. Okay, and that is currently standing at 28.5 mil. So I want this to be about 27, something like that. So we just need to plane 1.5 mil off the top. It shouldn't be too difficult. Let's try that. Always do tiny little bits at a time. So that's taken the 0.5 mil off. So you only need to do that again twice. That's a couple of strokes each, really. That's 27.3. So we're getting there. Now I will mention that this bridge height that I've measured at 36 is at its lowest point. So I could certainly allow it to go higher than that. So do you know what? Yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. And then we can play with that a little bit later on. Right, so I'm going to super glue the whole masking tape and super glue that onto there. And then it's just a case of leaning from there with the big plane and start taking this angle off. Coming back to where the neck's, just past where the neck's going to finish. Is where I want this angle to be going from, and then we can start blending in all of these curves again. Now then, don't forget that this guitar is part of the Use What You've Got challenge. I happen to have some Church Pew in Iroko. What do you have in your little store section? It might be plywood, it might be pine, you might have a chunk of oak lying around. Use what you've got, build a guitar. I'm going to stick a load of links in the description down below. Check out the other builders that have signed into this Use What You've Got challenge. Let's make it entertaining, let's spread the love and see what we come up with. Right, okay, so that definitely gets the blade past the end, only just on here, but that's enough. I've drawn a line all the way across the body actually. This is where the neck pocket needs to finish. So I've got to let this angle come back past that area, probably another inch or so I would say, just for aesthetics if nothing else. And then this width here is about the same width that the router is going to need to be, certainly that we can put a neck template on there and then work from there. Right, here we go then. Oh, it's squeaky. We don't like squeaky. Rag in a can. Ooh. Rag in a can, it's a beautiful thing. No squeak anymore. Ooh. Well. One neck break angle. I tell you what, if I had tried to plane something so flat and smooth, I wouldn't have been able to do it. That is glass-like. I tell you what, if you need a reason to go and buy a number 7 plane, this is it. So this board on here is about the thickness of my fretboard plus frets and strings. So if we come through to here, you can see that that's going to line up quite nicely. There's still a lot of play I've got on here. I could lift this up a little bit more if we need to. But yeah, that pretty much set the correct break angle. Who indeed rah. Well, there we go. One neck break angle for a purpose-made bridge that we've gone through. So the next part I can do is I can now cut that neck pocket. It needs the middle section putting on there, which will all happen in the next video, and I can carve off these extra little horns and shoulders around here as well to match what we've got on the back. Just as a little side note, isn't it lovely when God smiles on you and the end of that that break angle is exactly the same thickness as I've been doing the carve around there. Isn't that nice? Oh, I love it when that happens. Right, so yeah, next video will be cutting the neck pocket, and we'll show you a little bit more carving on here as well, and thinking about what we're going to do next. Until then, sharpen your tools. I'll see you soon. God bless.